going to be continuing in Halacha Hey, number 5, in chapter 8. We're talking yesterday about Olam Haba, the world to come. Now he says something very interesting, and it says, "Hanekama she'en nekama gdola mimena." What is the revenge that there's no greater revenge from it? What is that? Shetikaret hanefesh velo tizke lotam chaim. That the soul will get cut off and will not inherit that wonderful, amazing life in the world to come. Sheneemar, where do we learn this from? Hikaret tikaret hanefesh ha'i avona ba. That soul shall be utterly cut off, its iniquity is upon it. So if chas v'shalom, and this can be found, by the way, in the book of Bamidbar, chapter 15, verse 31. And the Torah is telling us that if a person, chas v'shalom, does severe sins, then the soul gets cut off. What does that mean in regards to the soul? That it loses its eternity. It doesn't have a portion in the life, eternal life in the world to come. So it says, he uses the word punishment. Hanekama she'en nekama gdola mimena. The revenge that there's no greater revenge from. But really, one could also explain it, the word instead of revenge, rather as punishment. The punishment that there's no greater punishment. What is the punishment? That you're not included in the world to come, in the eternal life. And our sages in different places have called it in many different ways. It's called avadon, vezeha avadon, the obliteration, ushekorim oto haneviim derech mashal. This obliteration, in Hebrew it's called avadon, that you lose something for eternity. Our sages and prophets call it in a way of a parable. One of them calls it be'er shachat. Be'er shachat is a pit of destruction. And be'er shachat, you can find it in the book of Tehillim, chapter 55, verse 24. David HaMelech calls it be'er shachat, a pit of destruction. Also can be found in the book of Tehillim, chapter Peichet, 88, verse 12, avadon. Avadon is obliteration. Another place where you can find by the prophet Yeshayahu, chapter 30, verse 33, and he calls it tapte. Tapte is a bonfire, like a big bonfire. Then in the book of Mishlei, Proverbs, chapter 30, verse 15, you find another word, aluka. Aluka means a leech, or the leech. V'chol lashon kelaya v'ashchata korim lo. And it says that in any type of a way of explaining it, it's either obliteration or nullification, destruction, and so forth, to a point, lefi shehiya kelaya she'en acharei tekuma. A destruction or nullification that after that there is no renewals. V'hafsed she'eno chozer l'olam. And what is the great loss here? That the person never comes back. So when a person understands the severity of the severe sins, that they can lose the Olam Haba. And this is not something that you should take lightheaded. I mean, on the one hand, we see how powerful, how amazing, how great is the reward of Olam Haba, the world to come, a spiritual life, eternal life, of pleasure, of being attached to the Master of the universe and enjoying godly revelations, etc., etc. But then on the other hand, if a person chas v'shalom loses their Olam Haba, then the punishment is the fact that it's been lost. Not that you're going to be sitting there in one of these places that the parable is saying, a bonfire, a leech, a pit of destruction. These are just parable ways to explain the nullification, the kelaya. But the real problem is that the soul gets cut off. And how does he finish the halacha, the chapter? V'hafsed she'eno chozer l'olam. And the loss is that you never come back. This is something not to take light-headed. So on the one side we have unbelievable, wonderful reward. But chas v'shalom on the other side, a severe and horrible punishment.